Good afternoon and welcome to 365 Days of Amazing Stories with Theo Mayer. Here we are on day 146, and I'm continuing stories from 1001 Arabian Nights. And as you might remember, the cook who had been given as a gift from the Greek emperor had cooked these fish, and when she turned them, the walls opened up, and this princess came in that looked like she was Egyptian, and this whole fiasco took place, and she overturned the pan. The fish got completely burned, and then she went out through the wall, and the wall closed up, and she was like, who's going to ever believe me? The vizier came in, who had brought the fish, believing that they would be cooked by now and could bring them to the Sultan. And the cook just told him everything. And he had no reason not to believe her. And so he said, okay. And he went back and he told the Sultan what had happened. He said, this is very strange. Go get that fisherman and let's get 4 more fish. And so this is what happened. They got Fisherman went the next day and got 4 more fish, came back with them, of course, got paid just the same amount again, making him just this much more wealthy. And so the fish were brought, and the cook was given the fish, and this time the vizier stayed in the kitchen to watch and see what would happen. And again, when the cook went to turn the fish, they'd been cooked on one side, she turned them. The same thing happened. Wall opened up. This princess came through that looked like an Egyptian princess, and she talked to the fish. The fish answered in the same way. And she'd hit them with this myrtle branch that she had. And after they answered, she flipped the pot, they fell into the embers and completely got burned, and she went out through the wall. And the vizier was just astonished to have watched this all take place. And so he went back to the Sultan and told the story, and the Sultan called for the fisherman again. And again, the fisherman, he didn't go immediately back because he told the king, I'll have to get them the next day. And so he had obeyed the genie's instructions explicitly, only throwing his net one time, only one time catching fish in any given day. So for a 3rd time, he went back, was paid again, and this time the Sultan himself stood and watched as the fish were cooked and as they were turned. Now this time when the wall opened up, it was not an Egyptian maiden that came through, but it was a huge black man that was strong and tall and clothed in the most elegant clothing. A bit frightening to look at. His arms were muscular. His build was incredible. But he came through. He paid really no attention to the Sultan nor the cook, nor the vizier. All of them were watching. And he went to the fish pan, and he rapped on the fish just as had been done by the Egyptian maiden. The fish answered. After they had answered, he flipped the pan over and went out through the wall. So now the Sultan was really interested in what was going on here, and he called the fisherman back, and he asked him, where is this lake? I need to go there and see these fish. And so the fisherman, on the next day, it was agreed, would come to the palace and leave the Sultan and a huge crew of men and go off to see this lake. Off they went, over the hill, over the next hill, and down to the lake that was between the 4 mountains. The Sultan was amazed because he as well had never seen this lake before, even though it was in such close proximity to his palace and was within, it seemed, his jurisdiction, his domain. Well, they set up tents. They set up a whole encampment there. They spent the night, and still, when it was dark, the Sultan came to his trusted vizier, and he said, I'm going to go off and find out what is going on here. And I want you to let everyone know that I am not feeling well, and I'm staying in my tent, and I want that to remain the word until I return and know what is happening. And the vizier was like, Sire, are you sure this is what you'd like to do? You don't want some of us to come with you? He said, no, I will take care of this on my own. And so off into the dark he went, his saber attached to his side. No bodyguard or men had come with him, and he was off on his own. And of course, Scheherazade stopped the story there, as I will as well, winning herself another day of life and another day with her sister, her husband, and her very, very happy father. Okay. Hope you enjoyed, and thanks for tuning in.